Okay, so last video I walked you through how to use the Magic Wand tool, how to import images, and finally to rasterize images so they can be edited. In this video I'm going to show you how you can further edit images to get them into the format that you want, how to change the size of the images, and again how to find good images to use inside of Photopea. So what we're going to do first is we now have Captain America and our little empty street where our little battle is going to take place. I'm going to need to find a bad guy for him to fight. So again, I'm going to go to Google, I'm going to type Thanos, and then press enter. Except, none of these images are really that great. So here we've almost got a full Thanos pic, but then here we've just got head, and the backgrounds as well. There are lots of different colours, there's lots of things in the background, so it makes them harder to see. So what we could type in is get more specific with our searches. So maybe I'm going to type in Thanos full body. So now I've got loads of images to use. So what I can do is choose one of these images. So I'm just going to edit my search a little bit more. Try and find an image that I like. This one will do. So we've got a nice sort of cleanish background with no objects in the background that will cause us any problems, and it's a full sort of body picture. So what I could do again is save this image and just call it Thanos. And I'm going to save that. What you might want to do when you're finding your images is maybe find one with a white background. These are what we call transparent backgrounds. So when you save them and you import them, it'll import without any background, it'll just be the character. But I'll show you how that works in a little bit. So normally, for the Magic Wand tool, you might want to choose an image with a really plain white background. So to get specific, you could just type in Thanos white background. There we go. And now you can see a lot of our images are now with a white background of all sort of various shapes and sizes. That just makes it a little bit easier for you when you're making different Photoshop products or Photopea projects to edit the images. So let's import our image again. So open and place, and then let's double click on Thanos. Okay, so now we have our image and we're going to want to start to edit it. So we could use the Magic Wand tool, but we might encounter some issues first. So let's try clicking. So at the moment our biggest problem is that there are lots of different, slightly different shades of black in our image. And if, for example, we wanted to get rid of the smoke, it doesn't select all of the smoke because they're all slightly different shades. We could have a play with the tolerance, but again, it's not going to have as big an effect as we would hope for, even if we just put it on 1. It's still not going to select everything that we want. So we can use a different tool called the lasso tool. So what this does is it allows us to make sort of very generic selections. But first I'm just going to hide these images so it makes it easier for you to see these ones. So to do that, on the right hand side we have our 3 layers. In a minute we have background, Thanos and Captain. I want to hide the Captain America image and the street one. So to do that, we can see this little eye symbol on each of the layers here. To just hide them, you just click on it and it hides the layer from view. If you click on it again, it brings it back. Really easy. So we could just click on those to hide it. I then want to bring our Thanos picture to the centre and zoom in. So again, go to view, zoom in, and then zoom in as much as you like. So the lasso tool here is the third one down. If you hover over it, it says lasso select. If we click on that, what we need to do first is click and hold. What this will do is let us draw around our picture of Thanos. Except you can see it'll be quite difficult to be precise. So when you've done your full loop, you need to join it back up where you started and it'll create this little effect of ants drawing around him. So this isn't very precise because obviously we're missing out large little bits of background in between his legs, under his arms there, around his head. So it can be quite difficult to be really precise with this tool. But we've made our selection, so we could just press delete. Except it needs to be rasterized first, so again, right click on the layer and click rasterize. So now if we press delete, but again there's a problem here because we've deleted everything inside of our selection. So to undo that, there's a little tool here that's really helpful. It's called history. So what this does is it keeps track of every action we've taken. If you want to undo an action, for example, if I wanted to get rid of the deletion, I could just click the last step I took, which is rasterize, and it will get rid of the clear command. You can also do edit, undo. So there are two different ways you can sort of undo your mistakes. So I'm going to undo that deletion because I don't want it to delete inside of my selection. So to instead delete everything on the outside of our selection here, we right click on the image and click inverse. What this does is it inverses the selection you've chosen. So instead of selecting everything inside here, it selects everything that is not inside of here. And then we can just press delete. And it's now deleted everything outside of our selection. Except, like I said, this wasn't really that accurate. We've still got kind of like a blob effect around our character. So I'm going to want to undo that and be a little bit more precise with my selections. So to do that, I'm going to right click on one the lasso tool is. I'm going to click polygonal lasso tool here. So one with the sort of straight lines effect, and it'll change our symbol here. So this one works a little bit differently. So instead of clicking and holding this time, you're just going to click once. And you can see now we've got like a straight line that I'm dragging all over the screen. So what we can do now is really specifically start drawing around our Thanos character. So you just click each time you want to form that line and start drawing around the character. So if I do this for a little bit, start drawing around him, except here I've accidentally misclicked. So if I want to bring this back down again, it's going to have that big blob. So to undo any selections that you've made, you just press backspace and it gets rid of any lines that you've selected. Okay? So now we can carry on drawing around our character. So, unlike the Magic Wand tool, this is going to take you a little bit longer to do because we're being really precise with our selections. But with the Magic Wand tool and the lasso tool, it's very generic selections, so it's not going to be as precise as this tool. So it's a trade-off. You can either be quick and slightly messy, or take your time and be really precise. So it kind of depends what you are really wanting to do with your image. Or you could use a combination of both, where you use the Magic Wand tool to delete a large amount of a similar colour, and then use the Polygon Lasso tool or the Lasso tool to do an extra bit of cleanup afterwards. So, I've nearly finished my selection. So again, like the Lasso tool, when we get to the end of our selection, you can see here my two lines are almost joined up. So what I need to do is when I've finished, is get as close as I can and click. So you can see here again, it's formed that little ants running around my character sort of effect. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to click delete. Except, again, I've forgotten to select inverse, so I'm going to go back, undo the deletion, right click and inverse, and click delete. So you can see here now, it's a lot more precise than it was before, and we don't have that large blob effect around our character. Except we've got two little areas where it's not done it correctly, because the areas outside weren't connected to the areas inside under the arm, because the image is layered over here. So what we could do is use the Magic Wand tool and turn up the tolerance to maybe 10, maybe a little bit more. Again, just play with those numbers and make a big selection. So we can see here, it's done a fairly good job of deleting most of the black inside under his arm. So we can then use the Magic Wand tool here, I know it's a little bit hard to see, to draw around the little bit that's left inside. Whoops. And now we can just delete what's inside there. And that looks a lot neater than it was before. And again, the same down here. We could use the magic wand tool, and that's actually done a really good selection because most of that grey was a single colour. So we can just delete that, and that's all fine. So that saved us a lot of time. So again, the difference between them is just the magic wand tool is good for selecting large amounts of sort of one colour. The polygon lasso tool is a lot better at those precise sort of selections of sort of content that you want to delete in those images. So, what I want you to do now is, if you've been following along with this video, or after this video, I want you to create a little scene that we have here. So what you could do is use the images that I'm going to provide for you, which are Captain America and Thanos, or you could start searching for your own images, either Marvel or DC, but I want it to kind of be like a superhero theme. So what you could do is, if you wanted to do Batman, to find a good Batman image, you could do Batman, white background, and then go into images. So you can choose a full body Batman picture, and then to challenge yourself, choose an image with a white background, and then choose one without a white background, to have a go at using that polygon lasso tool. So full body. So this would be a good one. So we have the different shades of colour here. We have a bit of text that wouldn't be picked up by the magic wand tool. So for this one, I want you to choose one image with a white background and one without a white background if you want to choose your own superheroes. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. Create your own superhero scene. And in the next tutorial, we'll have a look at how we can change the sizes of our images, change how they look, and move them around a little bit so we can have Captain America and Thanos, facing each other. And because they look a little bit too big for this street. Okay? Thank you.